Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. So, I want to talk about the Christie and Teanery fight, Danny versus Conor. But before I do, I want to give a big shout out to Pick Jardine for and congratulate him on his win on the Valhalla show. David Oscar fought on his undercard. David Oscar got beat. Big shout out to David Oscar. Massive respect to David. Got caught early, couldn't recover. You know, Pick was fucking class. You know, he was sharp, he was fast, he did everything right. You know, his camp was perfect, and he performed well. He beat a good lad. He beat a really good lad. And yeah, moving on to the BKFC, Conor Teanery versus Danny Christie. Now, what a fight it was unbelievable, you know, and it kind of went, you know, how we thought it was going to, you know, Conor picking Danny off, moving left to right, switching stance, you know, pacing Danny up. But we always knew Danny was only a punch away from hurting Conor. That's what we thought, you know, but it turns out Conor's got a chin. You know, Conor can take a shot off Danny. You know, we all know Danny can hit hard. No, we all know that. For some reason, I felt like Danny, he looked a bit small for the weight, you know, compared to Conor. You know, we all thought Danny was going to be the bigger man, but for me, I thought Conor was the bigger man. Conor looked fucking huge. You know, that tells me that in the rehydration, when they've done the rehydration over the next 24 hours up until the fight, I think Conor has benefited more in that rehydration period, because Conor looked huge. Conor looked massive. You know, Danny did awesome. You know, we all know Danny goes out on his shield. He'll be there until he's put out. You know, so I take my hat off to him. You know, what a fight it was. Unbelievable fight. You know, and it was entertaining to say the least. You know, Danny was bust up real bad. It was not nice to see. You know, it wasn't really nice to see. You know, his ear was all fucked up. You know, both eyes mangled. You know, his jaw, his mouth, everything was not nice, was it? It was not nice. I've seen a picture of Danny today floating around on Facebook and social media where he looks unrecognisable. He looks fucking off it, and he's still smiling. What a warrior he is. Absolute beast of a man. You know, and I think Danny, after watching that, you know, I think Danny should go back up to the weight of light heavy. Maybe he's, I don't think that weight cut done Danny any favours. You know, I think Danny carries his power better at a bigger weight. I think he lost too much weight. You know, Conor looked the bigger man. I thought Conor looked fucking huge. But Conor's got like this, he's 6'2", quite broad, but he's very, very slim. You know, Danny is his torso is quite thick. He's a very thick set lad. His hands are massive. You know, his back and his shoulders are big. You know, and he's thick. Danny looks thick. You know, and I think Conor comes down at that weight better and rehydrates better. You know, Conor looked the bigger man in that ring. You know, and I think it paid off well. You know, and Conor's movement was fucking unbelievable, and he can take a good shot. You know, at that weight, I think the way Conor was not putting everything into his punches and just going do, no 1-2 left hook and just catching Danny right. You know, splitting Danny while Danny was coming forward looking for that big shot. You know, and I think when he was catching Conor, you know, we were all hoping that he was going to hurt him. We were all hoping, oof, that was a good shot. And it looked like he was going to hurt Conor at one point. But Conor's chin held up. Conor's chin looked fucking strong. He looked really, really good. You know, I thought Danny looked good. I thought Danny was moving well, put the pressure on him well. But it's just his face. You know, he's got a face like the Diaz brothers, and he just splits open. It was just cutting open too much, and it was always going to get stopped. You know, as soon as that blood started gushing out from everywhere, you know, the referee was always going to stop that. You know, watching the fight go on, I didn't think Danny was going to get stopped. I thought Danny was doing really well in the clinch. Conor hurt him to the body. Both fighters had obviously worked on the clinch because both fighters come from a boxing background. You know, you see lads doing really well in the clinch who come from the Muay Thai, K1, MMA background. You know, Danny and Conor are both boxers, so you can tell they've worked on the clinch, which was really good to see. Really, really good to see. They both did a lot of damage and a lot of work in that clinch, and it was fucking good. Really, really good. The fight was awesome. I really enjoyed it, and yeah. What's next for Conor? I'd like to see Conor fight Rico. That's just my opinion. I don't think Rico needs to come back to the UK. I think Rico's looking at going across to America and fighting Marbella, Italy, places like that. But I would like to see Rico versus Conor. That would be a fight to make for me. I think it'll be a fucking tremendous fight, a fight to watch. But I do think Conor should go to the States as well. I think it's time for Conor to travel over to America and represent the UK over there. Let's see. God bless, guys.